Welcome everybody to another patch notes breakdown. It's Smite 10.7, the Ferryman update, and we're getting a new god. We're getting Caron, the Ferryman of the Styx River. He's going to be a Guardian. Looking forward to a fun time, per se. Baji does diamond challenges every so often. I have picked Caron to be my god for the diamond challenge. If you want to participate in the diamond challenge, you should go check out Battleground's God at Smite podcast. You can find a link below in the link tree. Go check it out. Come join the community. Come have a fun time. And while you're doing that, you can join the Up Your Experience podcast community as well, where we play Smite and many other games and talk about those games every week along with gaming news and anime. So check those out. But let's talk about Caron, the Ferryman. In general, there is going to be a Mage Buff we'll get to a little bit later, but damage is 35 plus 1.5 per level plus 20% of your magical power for Caron here. His passive, Ferryman of Souls. If Caron is in assist range, when a friendly lane minion or jungle monster dies, their essence persists for Caron to collect for 8 seconds, granting him 1 gold and a soul stack each. When Caron returns to base, he loses all soul stacks and gains a permanent 2 max health per stack. Collection range is 20, max stacks is 20, max health capacity is 350. In other words, he's going to be a tanky boy, but he's also going to be able to get a little bit of bonus gold from doing that. I think this is going to be really interesting to play around. Kind of reminds me of like Thresh Souls from League of Legends, if you've ever played that. So really interested to see how this plays out, and honestly, I think this god just seems really fun. So let's get into the abilities here. Ability 1 is going to be Spectral Surge. Caron plucks a soul out of the sticks, fired it as a line projectile that damages and slows all enemies while stopping on the first god hit. If the soul hits an enemy god, it then explodes in a damaging and silencing area around the target. So damage, slow, and can silence. A lot of CC. All enemies hit by the explosion leave behind a damaging, slowing trail for the sticks for the next 3 seconds. This is kind of massive. Its range is going to be 60, its radius 15. The soul damage is going to be 90 going to 210 plus 55% of your magical power. The trail damage is 12 scaling to 20 plus 5% of your magical power. The soul slow goes from 10% all the way up to 20% at max level. Trail slow is 15%. Silence duration is 1 second. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Mana cost goes from 60 to 80 per level. So really nice CC and damaging ability to start off with. Going to be feeling really good in lane, but I mean in fights, this is going to be massive. Ability 2 is Damnation. After a short delay, Caron creates a rift to the underworld in the area, dealing damage and marking all enemy gods hit for the next 3 seconds. The marked gods are revealed and have their attack speed reduced. Additionally, anytime an allied god hits a marked god once per mark per ability or basic attack, the allies gain a shield for 3 seconds. Subsequent shields only grant 25% of the original value. So you're getting an attack speed slow. If your enemies hit them, they get a shield. I mean, really, really good support here. Range and radius 55 and 15. Damage goes from 50 to 190 plus 40% of your magical power. The attack speed slow is 30%. That's massive. The shield you can get goes from 40 to 140 plus 3% of Caron's max health. The shield cap is 15% of Caron's max health. Cooldown goes from 14 scaling down to 12 seconds. Mana cost is going to be 60 to 80 as you level. Really, really good. I think this kind of just shows the utility he's going to bring to team fights and the utility he brings as a god. I think that's pretty cool. Ability 3 here, Swift Voyage. Caron forcibly rows at breakneck pace. He's rowing. Charging forward with increased movement speed and reduced turn radius for 2.5 seconds. Caron is slow and knockback immune while charging. Caron deals damage to and roots enemies he collides with, as well as those directly to his side in the wake of the boat. Another heavy CC ability. Damage is going to go 80 to 280 plus 40% of your magical power. The direct route is 1 second. The wake route is 0.5 seconds. Movement speed is 100%. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Cost is going to scale from 60 to 80. You're going to be able to root targets. I think if you're in a fight where you're having to chase people down or you just need that little bit of lockdown, this is going to be absolutely massive. It's a good thing that we're not going to see this god in competitive for a little bit for like the next month, because I think his kit coming out sounds really, really good. And I have a feeling we're probably going to see some nerfs. I have not seen him played yet, but just reading through the abilities, he seems very, very good. Now to his ultimate, you're going to summon the Styx River. Caron gains crowd control immunity and summons a massive tidal wave that he sends forth across the entire battlefield. Enemy gods hit by the wave are feared, while allied gods gain protections for 3 seconds. Additionally, if an allied god is within 60 units directly behind the wave, they also gain movement speed. Range is global. The damage goes from 230 to 510 plus 50% of your magic power. The fear scales from 0.8 seconds to 1.2 seconds. The protections gained go from 20 to 40. Movement speed is 40%. Cooldown is 110 seconds. They cost 100 mana. Global ultimate for a Guardian. Kind of wild. We haven't seen one of those in a long time. I'm excited to see how this god's going to feel. I think Caron, just reading through his kit, I think he's going to be fun to play. I think in non-quest, he's going to be awesome. I think in conquest, he's going to be awesome. And I look forward to diming him. Let me know what you guys think of the kit below. Let me know if you guys got to play him, what kind of builds you guys run in, how y'all feeling about him so far. Let me know. But let's get into some patch things now. New skins, obviously mastery and recolors for Caron. We got the other Color Forge event skin for Kukulkan. And then we have these Charon's Journey skins where we're going to get Chaotic Surge Poseidon, which looks really sick. He doesn't have legs. He just kind of floats. Dark Prism E-Shell. We're going to get Thunder Rage Thor, which I think is absolutely funny. He's just like a can of like what would essentially be Red Bull. We have Barely Alive Bacchus. I have seen this skin briefly. I got to like tune into patch notes while I was out of town, and it looked really good. Solar Vanguard Atlas, make Atlas better. Falcon Leader Horus, I'm really excited to see in game. And then we're getting Sinister Strife Hachiman after some nerfs, but I do think the ideas of this skin look good. I can't wait to see it in game. And all those are part of the Charon's Journey event. Along with that, we can find some other UI fixes here and things of that nature. High res, if any of y'all watch this, please fix the bug that when I spectate it resets the HUD. That would be amazing. Love you, thanks. I will keep bringing that up every patch notes breakdown until it is hopefully fixed. Some general changes with Unleashed Titans. They fixed the audio where it doesn't have Fire Giant sound now. Stitching Beacon Capture could sometimes happen twice, unleashing the Titans early, so they fixed that. Along with a few other different like small things here, along with some god fixes. But some game mode changes for Unleashed Titans. The golden XP rewards for defeating an Unleashed Titan are now only provided to those locally around it. It's not a global gift. Soul Surges, the movement speed buff provided, is going to go down to 10%. It was 15% before, which felt really crazy. They're also going to decrease the Soul Surge Spirit movement speed from 375 to 275 because they would run you down, and they decrease the Soul Surge Spirit base health from 265 to 180. So some slight tweaks there to kind of help with that zone effect. Prophetic Cloak is getting buffed. It's going to decrease the first protection threshold to 325 from 400, and the second threshold to 525 from 600. This is going to be awesome on supports, especially with all the different like changes to stats we saw in 10.6. This is going to be absolutely massive. I mean, Prophetic Cloak already built a ton. This is just going to continue making this item viable. Speaking of item that kind of got absolutely shredded in the last patch for 10.6, Silver Branch got decreased power per stack, but also had its stacks capped, which it wasn't before. And it got capped at 20. So you got decreased power per stack, and you can only get 20 stacks. Kind of made this item irrelevant. Seems like they were like, hey, maybe we need to get some fixes to this. They actually doubled the stack cap from 20 to 40. I do think this brings some viability to Silver Branch. I really do like this item for carries, especially if you're a stem hunter. I do wish there was slightly more pin percentage on it, but I think this will bring it into an acceptable range, so we'll have to try it out and see. Keep an eye on streams and things of that nature. I'll be testing a bunch of different builds, and I plan on testing Silver Branch for sure. Another item that I wish was good, Toxic Blade receiving a buff here. They're going to decrease the cost by 100 gold down to 2,300. They're going to decrease max stacks from 4 to 3. They're going to increase the anti-heal debuff from 15% to 20%, and they're going to increase the attack speed buff and debuff from 5% to 7%. Hear me out. Silver Branch sucks. Or, I'm sorry, Toxic Blade sucks. I'm going to build it. I'm going to try it. But as an ADC, it's really hard to fit this item into your build because it doesn't provide power. With that being said, I just have a feeling that give Silver Branch or Odibo glyphs and make Toxic Blade, the anti-heal item, one of them. Just throwing it out there. I think it's a good idea. Makes it where not all ADCs, their only option to go anti-heal is in Venom Deathbringer. That actually opens up Toxic Blade to be useful and to some extent by providing it onto a glyph. I think this is a good change for the item. I'm going to test it, but I still think this is more of like a auto attack warrior type item that's very niche. We'll just kind of have to see how that plays out. If you think otherwise, let me know. But I really think that's about as good as this item is going to get. Glorious Pridwin is going to receive a nerf on the explosion damage. It's going to go from 75% to 65% of your total protection items. This item has been absolutely insane for tanks. Not surprised to see it. It's been really good on assassins too. I have a feeling this isn't the only nerf we're going to see of Glorious Pridwin. I have a feeling we might see one in the bonus balance as well. God changes, as I mentioned, mages are getting a buff. They're going to get increased power scaling from 1 to 2 per level after the stat squish. This is kind of make up for that. So this provides 20 extra magical power at level 20. And then God buffs and nerfs. We have Amaterasu. Her glorious charge has increased the base damage from 60 to 300. Now it's going to be 80 to 300. So giving it a little bit earlier on some more damage, which is going to help her with her early clear. And you shouldn't be using this ability to clear, but it's going to help you with some early damage in lane, which you're going to need. They're also going to decrease the cooldown by 1 second. Bastet, Razor Whip, they're going to increase the physical power scaling from 25% to 27.5% per tick, which is an interesting number there. And they're going to decrease the cooldown from 11 seconds to 10 seconds. And then Kerberus buff, they're going to paralyze split. They're going to decrease the cooldown from 13 seconds, where it's going to scale down from 13 to 11 seconds as you level. And then Ghastly Breath, they're going to decrease the cooldown from 15 seconds to 14 seconds. I think this is a really good buff for Kerberus because I think he's like on the cusp of being very, very good. Raijin receiving another buff after last patch. He's going to get increased magic power scaling from 25% to 30% per hit. Going to feel pretty good. I think Raijin's getting close to being kind of OP. Tiamat buff, they're going to give the passive, which you can increase scale mitigation earned from magical power from 5% to 6%. And this means Tiamat requires 100 less magical power to reach the cap. And they also fixed the description to clarify cap of 30%, which previously listed as 25, but it actually was 30. So nice little fix to Tiamat here, nice buff. I think Tiamat's already been kind of in a good place. She's kind of a safer mage to play, at least in Conquest. I have a feeling we might be seeing more of her after this patch. Euler getting a buff here, and I think Euler's buff is kind of massive. Halo of Arrows and Glory Bound, they were going to increase physical power scaling from 90 to 100%. But wheeled axes and wheeled bow, not wild. Euler now gains half of the stat bonuses when the opposite stance. I think that is a massive change to Euler. I think this is going to possibly bring him into the fray in many game modes. So I'm not a huge Euler fan, but I could see if you're an Euler fan, I think this buff feels insane. I think this is a really big buff to Euler. Then we have an oluron shift. They said Touch of Fate, the initial threshold decreased from 150 power to 100 power, because if you didn't realize when they did the stat switch, this affected his passive, so they're fixing that. They increased the base crit chance from 15 to 20%. They increased the conversion from 1% to 2% per 10 magical power from items, and they decreased the critical strike damage from 1.5 times to 1.3 times. So really just balance this passive out because it was having problems post 10.6. Achilles nerf, they said Gift of the Gods, decreased protection bonus per level from 2 to 1.5, decreased physical power bonus per level from 2 to 1.5. Not too surprising. Achilles, I think, was already really good, and then with itemization and the threshold change to his ult to execute, people were like, oh my god, Achilles, and they started playing him again. So this is a good nerf, a good place to start to kind of balance him out. I still think he's going to be really good. I don't think this really does too much. Speaking of nerfs, Hachiman, who has just raised to the top of the Hunter charts, even though I don't think his changes were that massive. I think people just kind of forgot how safe of a Hunter he is, and he feels really good in a meta where there's tanks because he's able to play pretty safe. Master of Arms, that passive that they gave attack speed, is now getting nerfed to decrease the base attack speed gain per stack from 2% to 1%. So overall, that's going to kind of balance him out and help clarify some of that. Ravana getting nerfed. Chain of Blows, they decreased the health shield gain per stack from 9% to 8% of Ravana's max HP. I don't think this is a massive nerf to him. I think this is just kind of brings him in line with other assassins. He's been performing pretty well. So nerf him, bring more in line. And then last but not least, we have the tier nerf, Lawbringer. They're going to increase the cooldown from 90, that goes down to 70, to where it will now be 90 at all ranks after that change to his ultimate. So that's the changes. I don't think there's anything too crazy in this patch. Obviously, the big thing is Caron here up top. I think that's the big change, the one that everybody wants. A new god, going to freshen up things a little bit. But overall, I'm not too impressed with everything in this patch. I think there could have been more adjustments across the board. Hopefully, we see some more in bonus balance. Let me know what you think of the patch below. Maybe I'm just being a Debbie Downer. I kind of was hoping for more, and I feel like we're kind of shortchanged here based off the previous patches that we've just had this season. Y'all take it easy, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.